Hi, this is Freda Liu, and you're watching or listening to Life's a Stage. I love companies that have sustainability at heart. And actually, my guest today, I'm meeting him physically for the first time, Harith Rizwan, and he's most popularly known as Harith Green Carpenter. If you go to the LinkedIn profile, do a check on Harith, Harith, Green Carpenter, and you'll find him. And he founded the Green Factory in 2012, and this is after taking over his family business, which is close to 30 years old. Harith, so nice to finally meet you. Before we were recording this, we had lots of stories already. Everyone's like, save it, save it, save it. But because when I talk to you, there's always evolving into something else, into something else, into something else. But anyway, I'll let you do the honors. So for people who don't know about you, tell us about yourself, your company, and how you wanted to change the family business. That will be a lot of time already.
Thank you, Frida, for inviting me and for sharing my story. I'm Harith. I'm also known as the Green Carpenter, and I'm the founder of the Green Factory. The Green Factory is a furniture manufacturer company that focuses a lot on manufacturing of sustainable wood products such as furniture, homeware, and gifts. We have been in the sustainable wood products in almost 10 years, and we have sent our products to more than 20 countries. So our motto is saving the world one piece at a time, where we want to make sure that the things that we do, no matter how small, can contribute to making the world better.
Right, and I've seen your work and how you've been very innovative that way, and that tagline is at the back of his T-shirt. So you were saying on your LinkedIn profile, it also says inspiring sustainability through crafting and leadership. So there's a lot of weight in that one line. Tell me.
It takes me like a few months to come up with that as well. I think just talking about the quote, I think it's just to compress as much as possible in a very one-liner kind of thing. But the idea is, since we've been doing sustainability for more than 10 years, and we are seeing a lot of benefits of having sustainability in the middle of the company, as the vision is. So we are seeing not just in terms of the environmental benefits, there are a lot of financial and also other things that is good for the company happening because we adopt sustainability. So that's why this past few years I've taken up activism in terms of getting more businesses to adopt sustainability, not just the wood industry, but more on the manufacturing side, and especially the supply side. Because in the market or in Malaysia, you can see it's not really the issue of awareness. Consumer, if you talk especially to the younger generation, they want more green products than our generation. It's for them, it's like, of course I want green product.
Right.
So there is the demand from the public that is comes from the work of NGOs, celebrities, or those kind of things. So it's good. But the two main issues of sustainability in Malaysia is one, availability. If I want to buy a green pen, for example, is there something in the market? So if there's none, then there's no supply.
Right.
So we need to have in terms of availability. And then the second one is affordability. People always think that green products are expensive. It is true to a certain extent, but there's a lot of ways for us to make green products more competitive as well. So that's why since we have been doing and experimenting with this concept for quite some time, that's why I feel like, okay, I can talk to the business people because we want the supply now. And I come from a practitioner side. So I'm a manufacturer. So I understand what the concerns are. People think that if you want to do green business, I have to put solar panel, expensive machine, expensive material. So businesses, in general, we don't like this kind of thing. So that's why this misconception needs to be addressed. And for me, I think that is the space where I can put my effort in.
Okay, so you started this 10 years ago and you wanted, this was looking at your family business, which is close to 30 years, and you wanted to change it. And 10 years ago, it wasn't fashionable, right? And I want to ask you, what were you thinking and why do you think so differently? I mean, to have that vision to think that way 10 years ago.
I think the exposure is not really 10 years ago. This exposure is since I was young.
Okay.
So I think around 10 to 11, my parents started to bring me to the factory and work during school holidays. So people go have fun, I have to work. So every year it's like that. And so I grew up in the industry, and I technically was exposed to a lot of different things. So when I joined the business in 2008, I delved deeper into the industry and I noticed so many things. Like for example, our wood industry is one of the largest in the world. Malaysia export to more than 160 countries. So we have a very strong industry and one of the largest in the world. However, if you look at the perception
Right.
of our products, especially from the Western countries, is always being seen as not sustainable. So reality and actual reality and perspective can be different, but that is at that time that is the perspective lah.
Okay.
Whether it's real or not
Right.
is secondary. So and being in the industry itself, I see that there's a lot of waste being created, like sawdust, excess food pieces. And for us, because we're also involved in interior renovation, so you can imagine the waste that we created ourselves. So that's why I felt like, okay, there's a lot of issue in the industry, and for us to move forward, at least for me to move to bring the company to another level, I need to do things that is slightly different than what the industry is. So it started from the need to differentiate, because at that time we do a lot of different we do the same thing as what everyone is doing.
Right.
So it's a very red ocean, it's a very competitive cost based business, which I dislike.
Yeah.
I dislike
Someone's
because
always going to come with a lower price, and
correct.
it's not
Correct. It's not healthy.
it's not
lah.
sustainable.
It's not sustainable. And you always have to sacrifice a lot of different things.
Right.
So that's why I see, okay, what is going to be next, those kind of thing. And then I'm thinking like, why don't I do green furniture? I decided I want to do green furniture, but I don't know what green furniture is.
Right.
It was a difficult timing in a way that that time Malaysia has one of the largest deforestation rate in the world or in Asia, 2012. So it hits me because my industry or my business is directly related to forestry. So that is why I felt, okay, let's try to do green furniture. And because I don't know much and nobody else is doing it, even all over the world, it's very segmented or very, in a way, it's not really established yet.
Okay.
So that's why I feel like, okay, I need to start something, and we use waste. We have a lot of wood waste, and then we start making product with wood waste like pallets and crate.
Right.
And
What
at
do you
that
do with
time,
the sawdust?
later I can tell you, share.
Okay.
Because it evolves in a way that is very interesting.
Okay,
Later we'll touch.
okay.
So we start with pallet wood, and then we make furniture out of it. So at that time, people don't really buy the product. It's very limited demand. But in 2012 also is when the hipster cafe movement start to peak.
Yes.
So you see a lot of cafes like using recycled wood, recycled furniture and those kind of things. So I did well in that space because we are one of the pioneers. So that is when the business picks up. And I saw the potential in sustainability. And then that is the first part lah.
Right.
But the second part is the journey of until now, where we created a system called proactive green system, where we look at all our process. We don't just look at the material.
Right.
We look at the glue that we use, the coating that we use, the packaging, and also the stakeholder, the makers, the community, the government, media, blah 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 blah. And for the stakeholder, we try to get more buy-ins in terms of sustainability in all. And in terms of our process, we try to make our process greener.
Okay.
So that is when we notice a lot of things that you can do that will affect your margin, which is in a good way. We always think like when you do sustainability, it's about incurring costs. Right now, we found out there's a lot of way where implementing sustainability gives us monetary benefit.
Right.
So, like for example, we have small wood pieces, which we turn into products. Like one of them is a phone holder,
Right.
and this phone holder is from our want to be zero waste. It becomes one of our best seller now.
Right.
So we made thousands of it. So just by wanting to reduce our waste, we create a new revenue stream.
Right.
So that is one thing. And because the material is paid for by making the bigger product, so there's no material cost.
Right.
But the wood itself is very high quality wood. So you only incur labor cost to make something. And you can transfer the savings of the materials to the consumer. So that is how we make sustainable products cheaper, but at the same time, the quality is still there.
Right. So sustainability is not just like you say your solar panels. It's about innovation, right? What you're doing is very innovative. So tell me the sawdust story now.
So that is when one of the things we are moving is moving towards zero waste manufacturing.
Okay.
So our waste used to be around 30%. So now it's around 5%. So within these 2 years, we want to reduce it to zero. That means that we have to use all the wood piece, including the sawdust and all that. So one of the things that we have been struggling to find use is sawdust. Of course, there are like farmers that use it. It can be either in plant nursery or a chicken farm, even like horse bedding and all that. So we supply to them as well, but at the same time we found out, I think last year we found another use for it, because we are looking into the whole process. The waste, or one of the sustainable thing, is the packaging or the bubble wrap.
Okay.
So that is one of the things that we are still using,
Right.
but we want to reduce that. So normally when we put in a box, we have to bubble wrap and then so what we found is we can use the sawdust as a filler, like polystyrene.
Right.
And then we put a product, so we don't use any more paddings. And the recipient, they can use it for, I don't know, their plants or
Right.
something. And or what if they throw it, biodegrade. So it's a cheap solution to a problem that we have. So
Right.
that's why then that is some of the findings I share as well to the public in Facebook and LinkedIn. And these are some of the things I think that is lacking here in Malaysia, where the local knowledge development about sustainability is very little. A lot of things when we search about sustainable practices, it's always Western kind of example.
Right.
So that's why one of the things I'm promoting right now is development of local knowledge. So that's why I do a lot of interviews and all that, where we can see like how different company adopt sustainability in our local climate and situation.
I love that, because it's not just about, like you say, the Western perspective. This is things that we're going to use. And what a wonderful solution, right? Because the bubble wrap, when you're trying to buy sustainable products and it comes in bubble wrap, it's like something is not connecting, right?
Correct,
So you
correct.
want to be sustainable, but it is still everything else around it, right? It's a whole process. And you talk about zero waste. Now, with your green factory, I know that you're also working with the youths, and you're trying to change the perception of carpentry. What is that? Dirty, demeaning, and
Dangerous.
right? What is the work that you're doing with youths?
Okay. To recap, our industry is one of the largest in the world. However, there's a lot of reliance on foreign labor. So there's no issue with that for me, but for us, we feel like we want to develop more local kind of craftsmen in a way.
Right.
Because one of the things that...
Craftsperson, because it can be a girl.
Correct. So like as we know, in our culture, there's a lot of crafts
Yes.
persons.
Yes.
But nowadays we have less and less of those. Like we have now boat makers almost
Disappeared,
there.
right?
House makers we have to a lot to take from Indonesia and all
Right.
that. So it's for me it's not my territory, but these are that concerns me. So that's why we want to have more local, especially youth kind of empowerment or development workforce. So we've been doing it in a way that one, we take interns. So we train around 10 to 15 every 6 months. So these are all from local tertiary education bodies. And now we have our apprenticeship program. So we look at like German style of
Yes.
education,
Yes.
and then try to implement it. Like in German, you are seeing a lot of youth not going to the university education. They will go more of the apprenticeship and all that. So we want to have kind of those approach so that these kids have options.
Right.
So now we have apprentice, and after apprentice they go into a 1 year specialist program. So now our workforce is 90% local,
Right.
and 80% is youth below 35.
So then after that, you train them and they end up working for you.
Correct. So they are either working for us,
Right. Or
be
supplying
entrepreneur,
to you.
or work in the industry.
Right. Okay. Now, I want to ask you a couple of things. Of course, prior to this, I got you to do your little wheel of life, right? I want to get, what's going through your head
Sure.
right now as we've just gone through 2 years of, the pandemic isn't over, but we've just gone through 2 years of, a funny period. How was the 2 years for you actually?
I think you can say in a personal level, it's quite enlightening on the personal side. On the business side, it's good.
Okay.
We did better now than before pandemic, and we are now recruiting more people.
Why is that you were doing better?
I think because we have diversification, one. So we deal with because we have been in existence almost 30 years. So we have the government side, which is the contracts and supply to the government. We also have B2B business where we work with corporates, and we also work with B2C.
Right.
So during the pandemic, we are unable to operate our B2B and B2C, but we can still operate the government business because we are supplying furniture for hospital. So we can operate minimal, I think 30% capacity or something like that.
Okay.
So that is the early PKP, right?
Right.
Where we MCO, we
So you're
cannot
still
work.
supplying to hospitals, okay.
Yeah, so we were lucky in a way that we have that project. If not, we cannot.
Right.
The only way we can run is because of that. So we were lucky in that sense. And then after that, but it was like, it's not 100%, right? So everything still, it's at loss and everything.
Right.
But that is when we shift our business from offline, which a lot of our products like the Dapo products mostly distributed offline.
Yes.
But during the pandemic,
People were cooking at home.
all our retailers are affected because people are not going out. But our online sales, we shift and then we get. So that's why I think that pivoting, and then once everything settles down, business the government picks up, and then the corporate picks up, and then the B2C picks up. So now we have been over capacity since last year.
Right. So I know I brought one of your boards for my cheese platter. So I think this was like, you were starting to eat more at home, that kind of thing as well during that period. Now, okay. So in the wheel of life, you say health has not been good. Why is that? Are you making changes? And I'm not just talking about COVID, right? But, health. Why?
I think when the age where you 20 to 30 is all about doing everything and like just exploring everything.
Right.
And then once I get into the 30s, I start to think about, because we already have some experience in life, right?
Yes.
So then start to look back and all the things. And the focus at that time was also more on the business, the money side, and those kind of things lah. But primarily the business lah for me, and also a relationship and all that. So the health part, it's been put on the side.
Okay.
for a while.
Right.
So I think this year is one of the things where I think right timing as well lah, because this year is one where I want to focus more on myself as a person and my own happiness. So this is where I see which one of the, not just the wheel lah, but I'm doing something like that. But I know where I want to be better lah.
Okay, so the other thing was you scored yourself highly in terms of your business, but not so highly in finance. Is there a disconnect there?
They are,
Okay.
because we in terms of the business, we spend a lot on the expansion of the company,
Right.
and all that. So
That involves
I don't-
money.
Yeah, I sacrifice a lot of my pay to that, because just want to grow the business, and as well in terms of my personal life, because I do my own show,
Yeah.
so that's a lot of costs involved that is out of my pocket as well.
Right.
Like doing a live show, you need to have a lighting.
Right.
These are all in my pocket.
Check him out on LinkedIn and connect with him on LinkedIn. Of course, watch him on LinkedIn Live. You do that weekly as well, talking on this topic. Yeah.
Correct. So yeah, those are the things that is eating away from my stuff. But those are the things that I like and
Okay.
I believe in. Not necessarily like
Right.
for example, I don't like talking in public.
But you need to get your message across,
Correct,
right? So you need
correct.
to do that. And one of the things that you scored highly is personal development. What are you doing in terms of personal development? How has that helped you?
I think the journey has always been there from the start, because I love to learn.
Right.
So I love learning outside school.
Okay.
Because I found out the education system in a way doesn't really reflect how I like to learn. Like for example, one of my worst subject, history. I dislike history so much, and it always ruin my result. But after I started working, and one of the day I went to a museum, and then I saw a lot of design of the Malay dressing and
Right.
on. So in our culture, there's a lot of beautiful things, but it's only on museum. So there's no application in terms of current, recent, or modernization. So that is one of the things that we have been working on as well, exploring our culture,
Right.
in design of our products and all that. So back to the story of learning, I fell in love with history now.
Okay.
Now I see history in different lens.
Okay.
So that's why that learning outside school, until now, that's why I do show is about me learning as
Right,
well.
right.
So it's that journey helps me in a way that I know there's a lot of things that I don't know, but now I have an avenue where I can talk to people that know.
Right. Okay. And I suppose seeing it makes it comes to life, right? Okay. Now, and you also mentioned that when you're working on one thing, another area deteriorates. Do you think you're able to integrate it, or?
I think it's a journey. It's not a destination.
Okay.
So before this, it's work-life balance, right? And we found out it doesn't make sense. So now it's work-life integration, something like that.
Right.
And I think this journey of entrepreneurship also helps me in a way that I can design my future. For example, one of the things that I want to do in my business, I want to travel.
Right.
So I do export. So it complements what I want with what I'm doing. So you get satisfaction from your work, at the same time on the personal level to a certain extent.
Right. You incorporate it.
And I love design. I love new things. So I make the business a research and design company. So we work on hundreds of designs and stuff. So that is one of the things that I feel now I want to have more. How can I put health in that?
Right.
Whether I design in a way that I have to walk around and something like that,
right.
but it
Okay,
makes
okay,
sense
okay.
with the big picture,
yes,
right?
Yes. So then you can incorporate exercise
Correct.
into there. Yeah,
Cheating.
It's not cheating.
Hacking.
It's, hacking. Life hack. It's a life hack. Okay. One of the other thing you said is having time for fun. Okay, you got to incorporate fun into that as well. So tell me about the Green Factory. Can people come and visit it? How does it work?
One of the things when we moved to the new factory in 2017, we want the factory to be a concept factory. So the idea is we will try as much technique or try to do as different as possible, but in a way become a showcase if it can be replicable. The idea is to make sustainable manufacturing replicable and accessible.
Right.
So we opened the factory to visitors. Before COVID, our factory is actually a tourist spot. So we have tourists coming in, we have students, we have industry people, government people come to see how sustainable manufacturing are being done in Malaysia. And because our location is in KL, so
Right.
like 12 minutes from KLCC, so it's easy to access. And we have a lot of visitors at that time, but now because of COVID, we stopped public visitors, but we do cater to small groups, especially in the industry side or government side. So, like for example, normally during December we have open day. So open day we do sale, factory tour, demo, blah 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 activities, and we get like maybe 400 people come in a day and all that. So we get to interact with the visitors. They get to see how we do stuff. It was a fun kind of thing where we make the factory as an event space as well. But now because of COVID, things shifted. But the idea is once things settle down, we want to do those kind of things as well.
So you're saying that you're exporting your products, right? Where are your main markets? What are you exporting to them? What are the other countries looking for?
We have sent a product to Russia, Korea, Europe, Singapore, Thailand, a lot. But I think the big ones are Australia, Europe, and then now Singapore.
Okay.
But during COVID, a lot of our export are not doing well. So a lot, maybe some in Singapore still okay, but a lot of our growth are from local market, especially the corporate side.
Right.
So I think because the timing as well, and now you see people talk about sustainability, like corporate talks now is like more crazy than before and like actually real. And we as a practitioner or in the industry, we are feeling it like really. That's why now I keep talking to business. This is the time for you to come into the space, because the space is like very limited. So it's not just I'm talking about the wood industry, but a lot of our other industry can just shift and be in a blue ocean kind of place, which is price is less dictate in the space. But now they call it like the green ocean
The green ocean.
So many things.
That's the other.
So because the demand so that's why I want to tell again, even viewers here, this is the time for you to jump. But the way you do it, it needs to be in a proper way, because we don't want greenwashing. We want businesses to operate in a proper, sustainable way and benefit from it.
Okay, so I guess moving forwards, your role trying to change the sustainable agenda, you feel that it's through corporates. If it's not through the government, it's through corporates.
It needs to be a work of everyone. But normally how we're gonna see shift in consumption or shift or trends, you will see the big guys doing it first.
Yes.
So now you're seeing a lot of them doing, and within these few years, the green wave will come into this region, and SME will want it, public will want it. So it trickles down.
It'll trickle down, because also I think like with big corporations, they expect their suppliers to be sustainable.
Correct.
Right, and these will be the smaller companies. Thank you for enlightening me. It's such a privilege and a joy to speak to you, and all the best with the work that you're doing, Harith, Carpenter. I'm Freda Liu. Hi, this is Freda Liu on Live's the Stage. If you found this conversation thought-provoking, please like, share, and subscribe.